Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. You made the trip. We're here on a hot August night. We got Eric beside me. Eric is with the medicinalconcepts.com.
Medicinal Horizons.
Oh, medicinalhorizons.com. I need a cheat sheet here in front of me. But all kidding aside, though, Eric is the guy to help you. If you need to know anything about cannabis, how to grow it, how to maintain it, Eric can help you. So anyway, you got DanK here. I'm your host, and we've been doing this since 2004. And by the way, social note, we're on episode 499. So for those of you that haven't counted that yet, any further yet, 500th is our next episode, and that's going to be next week. So that's a special invitation. We'd like to have a whole studio of people come on down and bring some snacks while you're at it. By the way, we like snacks. But anyway, come by the studio at 7:30 on Monday night. That'll be on the oh boy, I forgot the date. But anyway, next Monday. So 7:30. So anyway, we wanted to talk about big news. Our Attorney General, Eric Holder, is finally doing something.
Yeah,
so maybe,
something positive.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. He is proposing changes in the criminal justice system, and one of the things he did is, what the story says is, with the U.S. facing massive overcrowding in its prisons, the Attorney General, Eric Holder, called today for major changes to the nation's criminal justice system that would scale back the use of harsh sentences for certain drug-related crimes. So essentially what they're doing is they're going to start, it's doing what they should have done in the beginning, is prosecuting drug crimes based on how dangerous they are, their safety concerns, and exactly who these people are tied up in. The problem is some people, when they go and they arrest people that have possession of drugs, they try to implement laws and they try to prosecute them as if they were larger than what they actually are. And so what this has done is this has put people who committed nonviolent crimes that had no ties to drug gangs or cartels, just regular people who had drugs with them. It will not put them in that same category as a cartel or a drug member. The reason why this is important is because most of these drug offenses are for marijuana. And a lot of times these are medical marijuana providers. And when they get busted and they get arrested, they try to throw charges at them that would be more fitting of a cartel, people who are associated with organizations. They're moving it around the states and everything like that. The reason why this story is important, and it has a very definite impact locally. A few of you may remember a couple years ago, not even a couple years ago, but Kannabosm Medical Resource Center here in Eugene was raided and shut down. There hasn't been a lot of talk about it in the news lately, but that is still going forward, and the owner, Curtis Shimon, is still being prosecuted right here in Lane County.
Persecuted, I like the word
persecuted.
Exactly, persecuted.
Some might even say crucified.
Yeah.
And they are throwing these ridiculous charges at him as well. They are prosecuting him as if he were a cartel, as if he were a gang member operating this big drug ring. And with the Attorney General of the United States saying it's about time that we scale back on these prison sentences, that's really good and all, but they haven't stopped. And there's actually, like I said, one still going on right here in Lane County. I've got a brief little message out to people, especially to the Oregon medical marijuana patients. Right now is going to give you an opportunity for you to speak your mind and for you to stand up and let your voice be heard. The attorney who's representing Curtis Shimon, his name is Brian Michaels. He's an attorney here in Eugene. You can look him up. He's looking for people who were medical marijuana patients at Kannabosm who received free services and goods if they would like to testify and help out with this case. I know personally, Dan, that there were hundreds of people who received free goods and services, and I know this because my time volunteering there, I handed out hundreds of free things to people that was part of what the service was there for. That's part of what these centers are for. Every center I've been to has programs set up like this. If you go into a center now, you're more than likely going to find some aspect of it where they give away free stuff. So if you know somebody who's a patient, or if you yourself were a patient that used Kannabosm, and you would like to stand up and let your voice be heard, because in reality, people could say that Curtis Shimon is a man on an island being persecuted and prosecuted by himself, but this has to do with every person who used that center. When that place got shut down, a lot of people in need were put out. And this is your chance to stand up and say, you know what? I'm a real medical marijuana patient. That place wasn't a joke. That place provided a real service. And this is your opportunity. So please contact Brian Michaels, attorney at law. If you were a member of Kannabosm and you got free goods and services there, they could use your help. Now's your chance, and now's the time to stand up and let your voice be heard.
Definitely, yeah, that's I'm behind that 100%. Let Brian know so we can use that ammunition. That's what he needs, is the ammo.
And also, real quick, if you want to, if that doesn't work, you can contact me. You'll see my website flash up here from time to time, medicinalhorizons.com. My email address is medicinalhorizons@gmail.com. If you used to go there and you use that and you would like to help out, just contact me or contact Brian Michaels and let me know.
Definitely. So let's hope that Eric Holder follows through what he says this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
The track record regarding marijuana type of thing in the past has been a little dismal, but anyway, we have our fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the better things about this change, real quickly, before we move on to another story, is that under this changed policy of these prison sentences, the Attorney General said that defendants will be charged with offenses for which accompanying sentences are better suited to their individual conduct rather than these really big terms that fit drug kingpins. So like I said, it's starting to go in the right direction, but it's not there yet, and so we still need your help.
You're right. So I definitely need to get behind that. And then another big, excuse me, another big story that came up is Dr. Sanjay Gupta. We've heard the name. He is the CNN chief medical correspondent. And this article here came out on CNN saying why I changed my mind on weed. He said, over the last year I've been working on a new documentary called Weed. The title Weed may sound cavalier, but the content is not. I traveled around the world to interview medical leaders, experts, growers, and patients. I spoke candidly to them, asking tough questions. What I found was stunning. Long before I began this project, I had steadily reviewed the scientific literature on medical marijuana from the United States and thought it was fairly unimpressive. Reading these papers 5 years ago, it was hard to make a case for medical marijuana. I even wrote about this in a Time magazine article back in 2009 titled, Why I Would Vote No on Pot. Well, I'm here to apologize. I apologize because I didn't look hard enough until now. I didn't look far enough. I didn't review papers from smaller labs in other countries doing some remarkable research. And I was too dismissive of the loud chorus of legitimate patients whose symptoms improved on cannabis. Instead, I lumped them with the high visibility malingerers just looking to get high. I mistakenly believed the Drug Enforcement Agency listed marijuana as a Schedule I substance because of sound scientific proof. Surely it must have quality reason as to why marijuana is on the category of the most dangerous drugs that have no accepted medicinal use and a high potential for abuse. So he goes on talking about that, and then he realized that it's completely the opposite of what he thought, and which is all well and good, but I don't know if you had a chance to read this, but on the bottom side here, our friend Keith Mansour from the Oregon Cannabis Connection wrote, commenting on this article, and I'm not too sure if I agree with his comments, but he's saying that he said, I watched this video earlier this morning and enjoyed it, but would like to point out a couple of things I noticed. First, the box on the banner says "Gone to pot." This is a negative phrase, meaning it is no longer any good, as in the whole darn thing is gone to pot. And he's talking about the article. Anyway,
yeah.
He mentions, he says, next, the accept ion of the banner about 20 states allowing medical marijuana. There were only negative banners. The first one was the vast majority use it to get high, followed by it's not safe. So anyway, he was saying is that negative banners seem like they're connected with the ads. I mean, the article. So while the article is showing that the doctor has come around and realized that it's all is valid, the content, the other stuff around it should kind of point the other way.
You know, and that's funny that while he's saying that he's changed his mind on medical marijuana, that he's been wrong, all around him are these banners saying it should not be legalized.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
all, they might as well have just been putting up banners saying this man is wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
We do not endorse this. And another part of that story I found interesting is in the beginning when he mentions that that there was not enough scientific literature. He thought it was fairly unimpressive.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that literature has been suppressed by the DEA for decades, and that was the point. He even mentions that he went to studies outside of the United States, and that's because in other countries they don't have such a repressive attitude towards medical research. And so I'm finally glad that somebody with a big status and a lot of influence has come out and said something. Unfortunately, like Keith Manser pointed out, CNN did their darndest to ruin the moment and remind us of how dangerous cannabis really is. But yeah, I would like to thank everybody, as Dan would.
You bet.
I'm an attorney here in Eugene, you may or may not know that, and I see what she's talking about in the trenches. All the people who get charged with these crimes, their lives get ruined, their kids get taken from them, they end up in prison or not in prison, but even if you win in court, your life is ruined for quite a while just because of medical marijuana. And I'm going to try to tell you something that you can do that's really, really going to be effective, and I'll tell you why. Many, many years ago, I represented a guy named Robert Held. He was a retired fireman. He had a medical marijuana card, and he had a concealed handgun permit for 15 years. A lot of the sheriffs around the state wanted to eliminate people who had medical marijuana from getting a concealed handgun permit. Stay with me, because I'm going to show you why this is important. And I said, no, you can't do that. You can't access the information from the medical marijuana program unless you're going to save someone from getting arrested. Lower court disagreed with me. The Court of Appeals agreed with me. It's a case called Held v. Hanlon. It said that information is private, and you, the law enforcement, have only limited access to that information, and that's only if you're going to prevent someone from getting arrested, only if it's for that person's benefit, not to their detriment. Well, our Attorney General back then was not very favorable toward medical marijuana, so he ignored all that. And people's private information is being accessed by the feds. People's private information is being accessed by local law enforcement in assisting the feds in accessing that information. And they do that to know whether or not to stop you if you're driving a car and charge you with driving under the influence. Or they do it, and believe it or not, because I've got these cases, they do it to determine whether or not to open a package that's coming to or from a medical marijuana card holder's address. And if they find money in that package, they steal that money. This is what's going on as we speak and stand here. And they go to houses. A lot of these cops, they go around and they punch in addresses and they find one that's a grow site. Knock, knock, knock. Happens all the time. Well, we have a new Attorney General. And last time we were here, last year, we talked about how we as medical marijuana advocates can make a strong effect in the election, that we are a large voting bloc, and we proved it. Because Ellen is now our Attorney General, and she has made good promises about helping medical marijuana. However, she has not made good on those promises. So here's what you can do. You can write to Ellen, and you can say, look, there's a case, Held v. Hanlon, not so hard to remember. Please protect the privacy of the medical marijuana card holders from being illegally got into. We tell her this from the ACMM till we're blue in the face. She tells us to look into it. I trust her, but nothing's happened. You are a huge voting bloc. You can call, you can write letters, you can be effective to say, look, you don't have to say you're a medical marijuana card holder. I would advise you not to say that. But you can say, I heard that you're actually allowing the feds and law enforcement to access private information of my friends and family, and I want it to stop because it's illegal. And you can mention this case if you want, Held v. Hanlon, or you can just say it's illegal. She'll know it's illegal because we've told her it's illegal and she knows it's illegal. But if she hears it from you and all of your friends, you may be able to help us set up a system that blocks that access to information and protects you. Because as Heather told you in so many words, this is a war. This is a civil rights issue. People are being persecuted for not harming anyone. And remember, if you may for a moment, that the only reason marijuana is so illegal in the feds, and this is well known as a historian, you guys aren't old enough, but I was there, because Nixon wanted to prosecute the anti-war protesters. It is, by definition and origin, a political crime. And you all are going to be political criminals. And we have, as Heather pointed out, hundreds and thousands of these political criminals in our prisons. And yeah, we may have it legal here in Oregon in a couple of years, but the feds, they're your big problem. So the one thing you can do, one thing you can take away from this is write to Ellen and say, don't let them access that information. Don't let the feds find out who's a medical marijuana card holder and who's not. It's illegal. Ask our Attorney General to uphold the law she's sworn to uphold. And that's really all I've got. Thanks so much for listening. Have a good
Welcome back to Eugene Cannabis TV, the second episode. That's right, you get a bargain, you get 2 episodes of this show. But you got my friend Joseph here with the greener side. And by the way, a quick note on the greener side. How's it going?
We're doing good. We're still helping patients as much as possible.
Excellent.
And
Sure.
providing as much information and anything that a patient may need. If you need information on how to get your card, if you need information on growing, and a place that you feel comfortable going into and talking about your medical needs, and you might not feel that comfortable talking to even your doctor per se. We're very open and have a good amount of information to share with everyone, and enjoy doing so. So thank you for asking.
It's great. It's the greener side is 1601 Oak Street. Easy to find, corner of Oak and 16th and Oak. So
yeah, we're right there in the center of the Oak building. There's a common area, courtyard, if you will, on the inside of that, and our door faces that courtyard, so you won't actually see our door from the outside.
remodeling is all done.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since. I guess I haven't seen it since it's been done.
Yeah, it works out real nice. The
Excellent.
flow is awesome, and everybody else has been really pleased with it. So
Well, that's great. Yeah. That's great. Well, they need some help. There's a place to go. So we've got the StopTheDrugWar.com headlines here. We like to do every week, just briefly tell you what stories that are happening. And again, that's StopTheDrugWar.org. Recommend it highly. You can sign up for a weekly chronicle of headlines and articles if you like. The first one's out of Florida. Serial offender. Miami federal prosecutor called on misconduct in drug cases. A federal prosecutor in Miami seems to have real problems practicing her profession within the rules of the game, particularly if drugs are involved. And then the Chronicle book review this time is Rise of the Warrior Cop. Veteran investigative journalist Radley Balco has delivered a masterwork on the rise of Americans' militarized police. Thank you. Police. Rise of the Warrior Cop is a must-read for those of us wondering how we got in this sorry mess and how we can ever get out. That is a concern. The police agencies are getting more and more militaristic.
Yeah, they're starting to, divulge information that they've secretly acquired and trying to get us any way they can.
Yeah, different states different agencies have armored vehicles. They send out drug teams, SWAT teams to calls that they wouldn't ordinarily send them to.
Yeah, wasting more and more of our money that we
Exactly.
work hard for.
On a bright note here, Illinois becomes the 21st medical marijuana state. It wasn't that long ago. I think we were talking about the 19th. Here we are,
check
at 21st.
off 2 more there.
Yeah, that's
almost
incredible.
halfway, guys. Keep it going.
That's right. Governor Pat Quinn Thursday signed into law the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis Act, making Illinois the 21st medical marijuana state. So, that's good news. Like I say, we're almost halfway there. So, the UN.
If you look at a state map, it's all just going to be solid green.
Yeah. The UN drug agencies fret over Uruguay's marijuana vote. The UN anti-drug bureaucracies charged with upholding the global drug prohibition regime are eyeing Uruguay nervously after its lower house voted to approve legal state-run marijuana markets. So that'll be interesting how that turns out.
Yeah, it'll be pretty awesome to see what a different country's model will be.
Yeah. And then let's jump down to the bottom real quick. Norway Greens call for state marijuana production. Norway's Green Party is calling for state-controlled marijuana production and sales, and the decriminalization of possession of all drugs. Will anyone in Norway listen? So we'll see on that one.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome to do that. If just for the cannabis industry, but just to give proper information on all drugs to the standard person.
Oh yeah. And then we have the headline, and we also have an article on it, which we'll get to next. But the DEA unit uses spy data to launch criminal investigations, then hide their origins. A Reuters investigative report has shown a light on a publicity-shy DEA unit that uses information from NSA surveillance and other sources to jumpstart criminal investigations, then hide their origins. And we had another write-up on the same type of thing. This comes from the Drug Policy Alliance, and this is an incredible agency or organization, drugpolicy.org. They're also the ones that host our activist email list. So anyway, they're talking about the same thing. It said the Drug Enforcement Administration is spying on Americans and treading on our rights in the name of the drug war. That's like the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act was made into law, and then they started using it for drug cases. It wasn't long after that. Oh no, we're not going to use it for any kind of criminal or that. Right. And then they turn right around and start using it for drugs. So.
Well, and is that tapping into our phone calls and going on to our public networking things on the internet and everything like that? Is that what you're saying there?
Yeah. The DEA is spying, lying, and using the war on drugs to trample the rights of Americans. So, anyway,
is that just every average American? It's not the ones of critical, inspection, or the America's Most Wanted, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know. My understanding is they claim that they're not watching the content, but they're watching how conversations go. I don't know. That's exactly how it works, but
a whole lot of wasted money.
Yeah, the main thing is they are collecting data that they aren't supposed to be collecting for reasons that they aren't supposed to be doing it. So, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
I like to say, I've said for years that we're becoming a police state. And it just keeps more and more in evidence of that.
Yeah, when you try to do something that is right and be a free American, they tend to
and then the last presidential election, we actually legalized pot in 2 states, Washington and Colorado. So I remember just shortly after that we were saying, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens because both states have different programs. So even though Oregon didn't make it, we can watch Colorado and Washington, see how their programs go.
That's kind of what this next article is.
Yeah, well, here's some more information on Washington, and it's not going too well. Excuse me. Now they have a problem. They're saying medical marijuana popularity is threatening the legal pot push. It seems the problem is that medical marijuana, they have it set at a certain rate, and then but they can't tax it because it's medicine. So when they make pot legal and sell it in stores, they're going to have to charge taxes. So it's going to be more expensive. So when they actually do start selling it in stores, the fear is that people will be after medical marijuana, which is cheaper, and so it's not. It's still going to be on the black. It's still the medical marijuana is still going to go onto the black market because it's cheaper that way.
Yeah,
and they tried to tax it to make the prices even, and then the medical marijuana said you can't tax medicine.
There's no, you can't
and
tax
so it's a real problem. Of course, that's not till the first. That's another thing too. Is in Washington, it's legal to smoke pot. Well, no, not quite. You can't buy it anywhere in Washington.
Yeah,
you have to wait. You have to only buy it from a store.
From a legal state-run store.
Exactly, but they won't be going until at least the first of the year.
Yeah, so anybody that's doing it right now is illegal.
Secondly,
and not to mention that every bus stop there is considered a school district. So you can't be within
I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, you can't be within 1,000 feet of a school district. So.
Well, I know that 1,000 feet of a school district of a school can be a real, because a lot of times in that definition they talk about have daycare.
Yeah, right. It's got different meanings what a school really is.
Yeah, exactly. And so with the different meanings, essentially, you can't do it anywhere.
Yeah, it's just another loophole that they try to get to suppress all of our needs and our rights.
So I'm trying to think. Colorado, I can't remember. How's it going in Colorado?
Everything that I hear from Colorado is going pretty good. You know, the patients are definitely getting their money getting their medicine, and the people that are actually taking this step forward and doing the research are really, what I've seen is, taking it to the next level in how the plant is produced and what strain is good for what, ailment, and really, dialing it in for each individual.
In Colorado, you can grow your own too. I think.
I think you can grow your own.
Yeah, that's right. In Washington, that's not part of the deal. You can't grow your own.
Yeah, you can't grow. I believe it.
So it sounds like Colorado might have the better deal at this point, but wait and see. There is an initiative in the works. We're going to have a legalization initiative, possibly 2 of them. We'll let you know. Certainly let you know on this show.
And it's
they're coming.
We're still going forward, and the government is going to always push back because they definitely don't.
And we're still waiting Governor Kitzhofer to sign 3460.
Right. Yeah. So I've also heard that
he's dragging his feet. The consensus is what we're thinking is that he doesn't want to be the one to sign it, so he's going to let it become law.
Be politically correct. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that way he won't have to soil himself by being attached to it. So. Anyway, thank you, Governor. Got the real courage there. Anyway, we'll talk to you next time, and thanks for coming to Eugene Cannabis TV. Thank you, Joseph, and we'll see you next time.